Hey guys, today I got a very special piece and he was definitely my favorite action hero growing up. It's the Queen Studios T-800 Arnold bust clean version. So if you're interested in this unboxing and review, stick around. And here's how it arrived. Very large box on a pallet, freight shipping, which is not that cheap. The outside box did have various damage, as you can see, which you typically don't see with freight shipping. This is when you pop the top off, and then when you open that up, you can see in between the two boxes, there's this nice foam protection. And then as you open up the art box, you see the assembly guide and then the certificate. Looks like I got number 154. If you guys want to read it, pause here. Then as you open up the container, there is the various parts inside. It's just one layer. Kind of got everything nicely wrapped. And then there's the man himself. All right, it's time. Let's put this bad boy together. And the first piece is the base. I'd say it weighs a good 40 to 60 pounds. And then the main body attaches in. And the body itself probably weighs a good 60, maybe 80 pounds. So best to have two people. Then you've got the little statue Arnold that just keys in on the back. And then the hoist and the chain kind of attaches up there and then attaches onto the little Arnold to kind of make it look like it did in the movie. And then you've got the first half of the shotgun. There's a little screw that comes out of his hand and then it pegs in and then you just kind of screw it back in. And then you got the second part of the shotgun, the barrel, and it just keys right into the shotgun itself. And then you kind of just position it on his shoulder, make it look like kind of did in the movie scene. And then the last part is the end of the shotgun, and that kind of holds or hides the screw that's attached to his hand, and it just magnetizes in. And that's it. And here's kind of a 360 view of what the completed bust looks like. And yeah, let's just dive into a detailed review of this piece. Well, let's just start with the bottom and work our way up. So the first thing you'll notice here is this storytelling base that they went with. Now in the last couple of years, Queen Studios has really upped their game on their bases, and on a lot of their busts put like a little mini statue in the back. Now some people were big fans of it. Some people wanted something a little more simplistic, and I kind of understand both arguments. Kind of wish they had a version A and a version B to have more of a, maybe more of a simple design that they did on the original Terminator bust, or go with the storytelling. And this one's a pretty elaborate base. I'm sure it's adding another, $500, $600, $700 to the statue. So I don't know if they would have gave those options and there would have been that much of a price difference. I'm not sure if I would have went with the storytelling or not. But all in all, I do like the overall design that they did here. So kind of the first thing they did was, this is the Arnold, of course, when he first got launched back in time. And it's done a decent quality. You can really see, how muscular Arnold was. I think he was Mr. Olympian at that time a record-setting 5 different times, and in fact I think he had to drop, boy, around 30 pounds of muscle or so, you know, just to be in the movies. Maybe not for his Conan days, but once he really became a mainstream actor, he had to drop some of that extra muscle to look better on camera. But yeah, it's a pretty neat design. And some people are gonna want it there, but if you don't want it there, it does slide out easily. And there's another piece here that looks just like this, but without the light up feature, and it just has the nameplate that you can slide in there, or you can just leave it blank like that. Now you can also see the one part of damage I had in shipping. You can see that that got chipped off. There's a little chip missing right there. Actually, I don't think it happened during shipping. I looked all over in the box. There was no 2 little chips in there, so I think it was actually packed that way. But anyhow, this is powered by 3, I put some 3 lithium AAA batteries. Those lithiums typically never leak, so I would suggest going with them. Unfortunately, it does power on from the bottom, so you do have to slide it out to flip the switch. They really should have put like a little hidden switch on either one of these sides to be able to turn it on. That would have been nice, but it does come out very easily. And then you can see inside there the actual T-800 endo skull. And it's pretty well done. I would say probably pretty close to half scale, so it's got a decent size to it. So, you know, that tells you the story what Arnold actually looks like underneath that skin. Let me go ahead and turn this on so we can get to the back. This is kind of how it looks in the back. And of course, this is the very last scene of the movie, spoiler alert, when he says there's one more chip left, and you got to also destroy that one. So they slowly lower them into that liquid metal. So pretty neat. And these are actually real chains here. And I think the statue, it's about 1/8 scale, I would say. So it's got a decent size to it. It does have nice detail to it also. I had one complaint. Let's see if I can get this to focus in here. Is the endoskeleton part definitely could have been more chromed. You know, they could have used the same kind of chrome color of like the buckle or the zipper. But all in all, neat touch. I think the lava looks decent. Now, for a lot of collectors, you're never gonna see this. If you have this in the back of the wall, I mean, if you got it in the center, it's almost a center room piece. Or if you do display it where it's backs to the wall, like, you know, probably 95% of the people will, I would say you're either gonna have to do what I did and put this thing on a turntable, or you can get like a big mirror or something to put behind there, so at least you can kind of see that detail when you're looking at it from the front. Now, one thing I did do, because from an automatic turntable, there's no way that you can have this plugged into the wall and have the turntable going. It's just gonna twist the wire, and then you're gonna make the bust probably fall off the stand. So you need a way to power it where it's not connected. And the power adapter that they put on here had like a USB thing that plugged into the actual plug into the wall. So I just took that USP and I got this big power bank. So I'm actually powering it via that way, so that way it can spin and not twist the wire. And I'm gonna get some strong Velcro and just attach it to the bottom here, so that way you don't see it. But yeah, it's so this base kind of gives you the whole story when he first launched, what he looks like underneath, and then, you know, even gives you the battle damage look here in the back, and ultimately the very end. So I do like the design choices that they went with. Go ahead and let this spin back up and we'll get to the body here. So Queen Studios on a lot of their busts are just a typical bust style. They're not this half torso style where they give you the upper half of the body. Now this one, they gave you one complete arm and then they gave you one cutout arm. But actually I really like the design idea. When you saw him in this pose in the movie, his arm was hanging all the way down. So there's no way they could have gave that arm all the way down because it would have been way too tall. They could have had it bent in some different position, but I think ultimately that would have looked awkward. And I heard some people saying, hey, you should have got it where he was battle damaged there, but this is a clean bust. He does not have any battle damage at all, so it wouldn't make sense that, you know, he would have a bunch of wires hanging off on the end right there like his arm was cut off. So I definitely get the design they went to, and I think it was definitely the right choice. Now the body itself is really well done. I think it represents what Arnold looked like in that movie, which, you know, Arnold was a big beefy guy, and this bust is no exception. I think they sculpted his frame really well. Now the leather jacket, I don't know if it's pleather or leather, but I mean it's high quality. It's just like one that you would get in the store. So yeah, I mean it's everything. It's a real jacket. I mean there's all the zippers work. There's nothing fake about this jacket. I'm sure it's a real jacket that they modified to work with this bust. Now the jacket itself is clean. As far as there's no bullet holes. So I guess this is representing at the very beginning of the movie, because it wasn't too long that when he first met John that the T2 put a lot of bullets in his back. But this has no battle damage. They did try to give it a little bit of wear. You can see like every seam line. See how they sprayed? I can just imagine they're using their little sprayer there, and they did it around every single seam line on this. I guess just to represent a little wear. Now, in reality, maybe sometime I'll give this a little bit more of some weathering. It looks pretty decent, but I mean, that's basically all they did. They just spray painted around every single seam on this jacket to simulate a little bit of wear. But you can definitely dirty it up a little bit more, scrape it up a little, just to give it a little bit more wear. Because ultimately, he did steal this off a biker, so this jacket had a little bit of wear to it. Now, the arm itself, very well done. Let me go ahead and twist this where it's in the light a little bit better. But it's amazing detail that they put in this hand. I mean, look at the veining. knuckles. You know, they added hair here. No little white hairs up here. In reality, there probably should be a little bit, but it's just amazing. Slide this back a little bit. You know, the fingernails look real. It's actually got fingerprints. I mean, it doesn't get much more real than this. Slide it a little bit more. And it goes down pretty deep too. So excellent job on the hand. It's probably the best hand that I have in the collection. The Wolverine Queen Studios arm is pretty amazing too, but this looks the most lifelike. It's here, I'll put my hand up there. Yeah, I mean, it's his hand probably looks more real than mine. And then you got the shotgun that you saw him use in the first third of the movie. It's also really well done. I'm pretty sure this isn't real wood, but it does look like it could be. This does not, this feels like resin to me also, but it does look metal. Swing this a little bit so you guys see it a little better in the light. So even though the gun is a lot made out of resin, it's done really well. All right, actually, let me stop this here. I'm gonna grab a little bit of light when we get to the head. Maybe I can use that to shine it in on some spots. Here we go on the face sculpt, which is absolutely amazing. The skin looks really real with this one. I know I say that on a lot of busts, but there's so much different subtle color changes in this skin that everyone that's seen this has been like, oh wow, this looks so real. And I think, like I said, my lighting in here is not the best. So it's not picking it up as well on the camera, I can tell, but trust me, it is very real looking. And to me, from all angles, it just looks great. I think they did a little bit of tweaks in the jawline from their first version, and it just really reminds me of Arnold, especially with the sunglasses on. I'll go ahead at the end there, take the sunglasses off. I do think a little bit in the eyes is slightly off to me. It still looks great. But of course, with the sunglasses on, I don't see that, and it looks as close as 100% as you can get. Now this one, there's not much 5 o'clock shadow or any whiskers going on. There's a few little whiskers. Let's see if I can find it in there. It's almost like when you freshly shave, you always miss a couple of little bitty spots. And that's what you see here. You know, there's definitely more whiskers on the battle damaged one, but I guess it kind of makes sense. This is at the very beginning of the movie, and I think the whisker growth is like a normal person, so by the time you got to the battle damage scene, he would have had a few more whiskers compared to to this cleaner look. The lips, I never really said that too much in any of my other busts, but they look amazing. They look so real. And I was kind of looking at my Infinity Studios Dark Fate, and I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely an area they could have improved on. So I think just that detail that they went the extra mile in the lip area also adds to the realism of this bust. Now also, they did, let's see if we can see it in here, they did even throw some nose hairs in there. I don't know if it's really coming in, but there are some in there, and that's the first bust that I've seen from Queen Studios actually add that. The ears look really good. The hair, of course, is hand punched, real hair, looks very real. I've only done a little bit of styling. I've seen some other people, photos online. His hair should be a little spikier, so I'll probably work on that, or have my fiance work on that down the road a little bit, just to try to get it to match the movie close as possible. But all in all, it's just an amazing sculpt and amazing likeness that Queen Studios did on this one. So let me go ahead and stop the video. I'll take the glasses off and let you guys take a look at it without the glasses. Here it is without the glasses. Now, like, to me, there may be, from certain angles, may look just slightly off in the eyes, but it is still really, really good. And other people may think that, no, that's 100%. To me, I just think there's just something a little off in the eyes. But for me, I'm going to display this with the glasses on. I mean, almost the entire first third of the movie, he had those glasses on. So when I think of, you know, clean version Arnold, I think of him with those sunglasses. So I'm definitely on mine, keeping them on. It is kind of a shame not to see this detail that they put in here. The eyes do look excellent. So shine it a little bit more in here. But of course, the eyeballs are as real as it can get. Very real looking. The eyebrows, really well done. It's also a difficult thing to do. Every little hair that they put on here, it's got to be like in the right direction too, so they're not going all crazy different directions. So it's not an easy thing to do. But it looks good. It's kind of hard to pick up in the camera, but there is a little bit of red veinage going on, and the eyebrows itself, or the eyelashes also look good. So, excellent job. Anyhow, guys, like I said, I'll probably do a separate video kind of comparing this to the Infinity Studios Dark Fate and the Queen Studios Arnold. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. And until next time. I appreciate you watching another video. I'm a huge fan of home theater and these movie replica props. I'm going to put out a couple of videos each week in those areas. And if you're a huge fan like I am, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.